Well, hello there. Welcome back. Sarah here. My pronouns are she, her, and today I'm getting back in the habit of filming videos. I haven't filmed for a couple of months. It's been a long time since I've sat down, set up my camera and lights, and talked to myself in my room like this, trying to just go with the flow, try to do as little takes as possible, even though I've done a million takes already, and I've tried to film multiple times already. Gotta start somewhere, cannot be perfect all the time. I want to share an update on what I've been up to, and also share some video ideas and get some feedback on what y'all find interesting, because I am running a little bit dry on inspiration or motivation. So engaging with people has always been helpful in feeding that muse, feeding the inspiration. So what have I been up to? As you can see, I have a beautiful new shelf and I'm sitting in my own office. My husband and I have bought a place. We didn't expect it to happen this early in the year. We were hoping to buy a home maybe by the end of this year or next year because our savings had gotten up to that point. But we found a couple of homes that were within our budget on the market. So we hopped at the chance to look at them and put in an offer. The seller accepted our offer within the week. Throughout the whole escrow process, there were no hiccups. Everything went really smoothly. My husband put in most of the work, or well, all the work of the whole home buying process. So talking to the agent and the seller and the bank as well to figure out how to get this mortgage, this loan going. So I really, really appreciate him for that because I was just mentally overwhelmed with the idea of moving and uprooting my entire life. So we moved in a month ago. There's been a lot of unpacking and reorganizing since then. Andy has been very excited about being a homeowner. He's drilled shelves into his walls and drilled shelves into the garage too. We have a 3-story townhome in LA County still, in the same area that we were living before. So to live near the beach and also still near Long Beach is truly the best I could have asked for. We have 3 bedrooms and 2.5 baths. So Andy and I each get to have our own rooms, our own offices. After sharing an office for 6 years, I'm so ready to have my own room again. And it's really nice to be able to organize everything the way that I want, to have room for all of my different hobbies that I am orbiting around, rotating through every so often. I love the separation in this home as well. So when we're on separate floors, it's actually pretty difficult to hear each other, especially when the room doors are closed. So at night while Andy's sleeping and I'm downstairs in the kitchen, I am not as worried about making noise as I'm putting dishes away or making food or whatever. I've been sleeping later as well. I work night shift, so I normally work from 6 p.m. to 3 a.m. And then I used to sleep around 4 or 5 a.m. But nowadays I've been sleeping at 6 a.m., even 7. And I find that I actually naturally enjoy that more. It's quieter at night, both online digitally and also out on the street. There's just less cars and people out at night. And because Andy's asleep, I have no more interruptions for the night. So I really can just be in my own zone from 12 a.m. to like 6 or 7 a.m. Home has been a very big transition, but I am generally pretty settled now. I'm adding back in all of my hobbies. I'm meeting people again and having people over and all of the stuff that I really enjoy doing. So now let's talk tarot. What has tarot felt like for me? Do I still want to make videos? Every time we take breaks from something, or at least for me, and I find myself reluctant to get started or trying, but it's not flowing for some reason, it is important to ask myself if I still really want to do the thing. And maybe I want to do the thing still, but it has to be in a different way than before. I can't hold myself to the same methods or things that I used to do before. So do I still want to make tarot videos? Yes. First, I have invested a lot in my camera equipment, but also I still remember how it felt when I was first getting into TarotTube. I was looking for people who were going to talk about tarot from a secular point of view, psychological and therapy and all that kind of stuff. So I still want to explore some of these topics that I find interesting and present them in these video presentations. I also want to keep finding more Asians, especially on TarotTube or just in the tarot world as well. It's funny because in my everyday life, I have mainly Asian friends. I have very few friends of other ethnicities. My friends are mainly Asian. Specifically, they tend to be Southeast Asian as well. So I want to keep putting my Asian face out here and just maybe people, especially in my area, can see this and connect with me in person as well, or online on Discord and whatever else as well. So yeah, I'm still here for the hashtag representation. Online, we can forget that everybody actually lives very different lives than what we assume. And I guess it's the type of stuff that I would tell anybody else, any of my friends, if they were trying to start a channel as well. Like, even if there are many people like you, there's not someone who is exactly like you. And so it's important to, I dropped a card. Where did it go? It is the 10 of Stones. Anyway, okay, continuing on. So I told my friends this analogy earlier. I imagine tarot as this pie the tarot area of interest is this big old pie. TarotTube and tarot videos used to be the main part of that pie, in addition to, getting my own decks and practicing tarot and all that stuff. But now the tarot YouTube part feels like a smaller slice of the pie than it used to be. Bigger slices of the pie, of this tarot area of interest pie, would include talking with my friends, my tarot friends that I've met and connected with online. Also trying to find more tarot friends in person, because the tarot friends I used to have, they kind of drifted away and are not as interested in tarot anymore. So I'm gradually getting ready to put out feelers to find new tarot people in person. Probably do meetups and events again. Another big part of the pie is markets and connecting with people in person. These tarot markets take a lot more effort for me to prepare for than I expected before. And I will also take this time to randomly come out and say that I am autistic and I have ADHD. I want to talk about that more in maybe another video, but for now I'll share that I was diagnosed with ADHD a year and a half ago, and then a few months later I found out that I was autistic as well. I've been shifting my sense of self and how I relate to other people and how I express myself and present myself to the world, to everyone, very differently. I'm working on continuing to be more authentic to myself and to be not afraid of being weird or different. And in a way, putting on colorful makeup helps with that. It's a way of reminding myself that it's okay to be different and it's okay to be weird. Me with my green eyebrows and my green lipstick. And I also want to explore these topics of brain and neurodivergence and tarot and everyday life and big picture life too. I want to explore these topics on my channel as well. And I want to shout out Imogen of Sapling Tarot's Tarot and Neurodivergence video podcast series. They're on season 2 now. Incredible that they've had so many guests and topics to talk about that there's now a season 2. They have conversations with lots of people in the tarot or witchy community about tarot and also neurodivergence. And again, I want to explore more of neurodivergence in other videos because I'm sure many people probably have questions. So I want to break these down in a way that feels really approachable and easy for many people to understand. So back to tarot, let's talk tarot practice or play or what I've been doing with these physical decks, right? I know some people don't like the word practice. I can understand that because if you're just like playing around with the cards, is that really practice? I mean, I think play is practice is play, whatever, practice, play, all whatever, the same. But sometimes I think it's helpful to also understand or share, like, what are people specifically doing? When I was getting to tarot, I did not know what people physically, literally did with these cards. Like, you have a deck, and then what exactly do you do with it? So for me, what have I specifically been doing? It's been a long time since I've done regular readings. Like, I used to do regular daily or weekly or monthly readings, but I haven't done that in literally ages because, frankly, I find it kind of boring, and it also just interrupts my life to have to do this monthly or weekly reflection. So it's very arbitrary for me, so I haven't done a regular reading in ages, and I'm totally okay with that. I've also gotten to a point where I'm kind of done or tired of like Rider-Waite-Smith. I feel like there's just enough that I know about it. I don't know what else there is to learn about it that I would find interesting. I don't wish to go into astrology or Kabbalah or any of these other associations that I feel like are kind of tacked on in a way. I'm kind of tired of the limiting imagery as well, like with the 5s always being the scary looking cards, and with the 7 of Swords and the 3 of Swords and all the swords also looking kind of like the same, and across so many different decks too. So I've been exploring Tarot de Marseille, and I've been reading the book Marseille Tarot by Yoav Bendov. I've been taking notes on it as well. So I went to the store Tarot Arts in South Pasadena in LA County. If you visit Southern California, you definitely have to make a visit to Tarot Arts in South Pasadena because they have a huge selection of tarot decks, indie as well as mass market, which is such a rarity because so many metaphysical shops will only feature mass market decks. So one indie deck that I bought was the Pipspeak Tarot. I gave away the Playful Heart Tarot because I found the imagery a little bit too busy for me, but I really like how simple the Pipspeak Tarot looks. So past me would not have understood these pips and why people read with them, how people can read with them. But nowadays, since I am tired of the repeated interpretations of the Rider-Waite-Smith deck, I've been craving this like more open-ended imagery that is just numerology based. This is the box that it comes in, pretty small, pretty cute. The Playful Heart Tarot was reprinted in this size. I saw this at Tarot Arts as well. It was very cute. And then this is the guidebook for the Pipspeak Tarot. It's small, but I feel like it has the right amount of information for me to get started. I was so fascinated by the history and stuff that she included in the guidebook. So Zara, the creator, she explains the for associations for the suits. So originally, the wands or the batons or clubs, they were fashioned from tree branches, and anyone could make a baton. Swords were held for status reasons. They were not meant to be used all the time. They were to be used only sparingly, and they could cut the most with the least amount of effort. So that's the difference between wands indicating effort or blunt force versus swords where precision is really needed. Coins, gold coins were rare, and so you wanted to really hold on to these. And then with the cups, these cups are meant for drinking fermented beverages like alcohol because they're too fancy for just regular water. With the numerology here too, you can take it pretty literally. Like 1 coin or 2 coins means very little. 9 or 10 is definitely a lot, almost too much. And I know that this is like antithetical to what like the secular approach tends to be. A lot of people will say, oh, I don't read like predictively. But you know, when we consider this as just like possibilities and we learn to just connect these ideas together, but to connect them in different ways, I think that predictive or not, you could really enjoy Marseille as well. I mean, I don't read predictively either, but I do really like Marseille so far. So what I'll do is I'll pull 3 cards every day, or really just whenever I feel like it. I won't have a question in mind. It's just practice. I don't need to try to apply every reading to something deep. And then I'll look at the cards. Let's say it is these 3 here. And I'm practicing just looking at them visually to see how they line up into a story. So for example, here we have the 7 of Wands, 9 of Coins, and a 5 of Swords. We start with a big X with the 7 wands, but then move to a hole or a portal with the 5 swords. And in the middle with the 9 coins, it's like 1 coin is pushing through in the middle as well. So reading this, the message or the story I get is something in the back is the key to moving forward. Maybe needs to be pushed forward or put to the front of your mind or prioritized first. And that will be the key to moving forward, like through this portal, through this hole here. I totally see why people can use a Celtic cross or do like 9 card spreads, because when you have multiple cards like this out on the table, it's so much easier to see the pips and the suits and the majors and the courts compared to Rider-Waite-Smith, where every card is scenic. Another thing I've been exploring has been practicing the Celtic Cross with the Gentle Tarot mini edition. I also bought this from Tarot Arts in South Pasadena. And similar with the Pip Speak Tarot, where I'm just drawing cards without a question in mind and just reading the cards, I've also been practicing drawing cards in the Celtic Cross formation with the Gentle Tarot mini edition and just practicing reading them faster and faster. And I was looking to different people for inspiration about their Celtic crosses. So Tom Benjamin, Lisa Pepez, and Don Michelle, because they all had different positions for the Celtic Cross. So I've been practicing laying out the 10 cards and then visually figuring out what feels right to me. Because these words like subconscious and conscious and hopes and fears and internal, external, before and after, they can be very like cerebral. So I'm practicing like intuitive reading, basically, like just looking at these and then intuitively, or like what first comes to mind, what makes sense to my brain, which card is the before and after, which card is subconscious and conscious, and how does that like feel in my brain. At a recent tarot market, I also read for a repeated client. There's been a querent that I saw a couple of times already. I practiced the Celtic Cross with her as well, going through it faster than I would have gone in like my first year learning tarot, and I really enjoyed it, and she seemed to enjoy it as well. Another tarot practice thing, this is my tarot journal now. It's so cute and tiny. So my previous tarot journal, which was like, this is my planner, but this was my previous tarot journal size. This is some art that a couple of other vendors have drawn for me while I was tarot marketing. Anyway, so my previous journal was this bigger A5 size, but now I'm in this A6 size. This is a Stalogy notebook, and I've been using this as a dream journal as well as a tarot reading or tarot practice journal. At first, I was like, oh, I don't want to put stickers on this because I want it to just be like only writing. But then over time, I was like, I have so many stickers. I have so much decoration. I have so much stationery. So I really should just put it on here. And it just makes the pages look so much more lively when I have stickers and decor. It's honestly really boring looking if I only have my writing. So the stickers help fill out the pages, and it makes me go through the book faster so that I can move to another book faster. I like having variety in my journals. Then nighttime contemplation decks. So Lisa Pepez has talked about her like bedtime tarot practice, and I liked the idea of having certain decks by your nightstand. So I pulled out a bunch of decks that I don't read with regularly. Now they're like my bedside decks. I've been working on the habit of not having my phone in the bedroom. It used to be okay for me because I have an app blocker that blocks a lot of apps at different times of the day. So for example, at night, I only have access to some notes apps and journal apps and puzzles apps, no like internet or Instagram or things like that at night. And doing puzzles on my phone would help me fall asleep. But I'm finding that it's too easy to be scrolling on my phone in the morning when I wake up and not get out of bed. I realized that what I like having from my phone next to bed is having something in my hand, something tactile, and something visual. I don't really need audiobooks or white noise or music or whatever to lull me to sleep, but I do really like having something visual and tactile. So that's why these decks are like my nighttime decks. As I'm bored in bed trying to fall asleep, I can flip through any one of these decks. I'll briefly mention the decks, but I'm not trying to be an ad for these. I know that we all are curious what people like to use, so I'm just naming what I like to use, but don't go out and impulsively buy this without doing your research and all that stuff. You know, check your impulses, check your compulsive shopping if you struggle with that, like some of us do, myself included. The thing about all of these contemplation decks is they have a lot of detail in the imagery. I'm literally laying down in bed as I do this at night. Like I grab a stack of cards and I just look through them, let my mind wander over the imagery, thinking about things or not thinking about things. It's very soothing for me. This first one is kind of visceral, has some nudity, so be warned. This is the Story Medicine Tarot Seaweed Sisters. It's very green, and it's a fantastic contemplative kind of deck. Another one is the Age of Aquarius Tarot. This is very different from my normal aesthetic and style, but I really like it somehow. The underwater or dreamy, I don't know, abstract kind of vibes. Another one is the Oracle of Oddities by Claire Goodchild. I'm very surprised that I'm gravitating towards this deck now, but with my recent experience with the embodied ecosystems, it actually reminded me of how cool anatomy is. I'm now more curious about how it plays with the other elements that the creator added into each card. Another deck is the Unraveled Oracle, which I bought from a seller on Etsy. This one is yarn or fiber arts themed. I really like this more than a previous oracle that I had, which was the Knitter's Oracle. I've pulled out a few cards that I don't like from this deck, but for most of these other cards, they give me a lot of ideas, and they've inspired me to get back into fiber arts, to get back into knitting and crochet in a way. Here is something I've picked up after literally ages. This is what's called a cal, or a crochet along. When this pattern was originally posted, the pattern designer posted it in parts. So at the time, you didn't know what the finished product would look like. You would just crochet the parts as she released them. Then at the end of it, you get to see how the blanket unfolds. But for me, I bought this after the cal already ended, so I have all the 8 parts with me all at once. I actually tried making this last year, and I had to redo it like multiple times. The first time, it turns out that I only had 11 spokes of the wheel instead of 12. And I didn't realize it until I got to like out here when you start making them into corners. And I was like, oh my God, I don't have a multiple of 4. What the heck? And then I redid it like at least another 1 or 2 times. And I was so frustrated that I put it away. And now, ages later, somehow I've been craving crochet again. I think it's because I want more rugs and stuff to decorate my place, or our place. Why buy something and get it instantly when you can make it yourself and have it take 3 months or a year or whatever. But no, actually, I've been making progress on this since last week Sunday, so it hasn't been a full week, but it's gotten this far already. But I'm only on part 4 out of like 8, so there's still a long way to go, and the rows are getting longer and longer. But with crochet and knitting and so many other crafts, it's always about the process, not only the finished product. Anyway, so yeah, the Unraveled Oracle, so many fiber arts, like terms and imagery. It really reminds me of the different seasons of life, just like how there's different seasons of yarn and what yarn goes through to be treated and processed to become yarn, like from wool into yarn. Another contemplative deck, this is the Open Spaces affirmation deck. I don't remember the name of this creator off the top of my head, and I don't think this deck is like in print. It's definitely a very niche deck, especially for like people who like therapy speak kind of people. This one is a lot of just affirmations, but they're very detailed or very nuanced affirmations. I've also got the In Good Time Tarot next to my bed. This one's a more lighthearted kind of deck, and it's a bedside deck for now because I'm not sure when I'll be able to get around to actually practicing reading with it. That's a theme with all of these decks. Like, I want another way to use them and engage with them that isn't doing full-on spreads every time. A couple more decks here. These are huge cards. These are both majors only decks. This one is the Cosmovisions art cards. So it's only the majors of the Oracle deck. I gave away my Cosmovisions Oracle years ago. I didn't connect with the concepts in the deck. It just didn't make much sense to me, but I still really liked the art. So I bought the art cards and they've been sitting on the shelf for literally ages. But now, literally the first time since I bought them, they have a use. And the use is being at my bedside for those times when I want to look at dreamy imagery. And the last bedside deck I've got here is from Kitten Chops. This is also a majors only deck. It's literally huge. Look at my hand. And I've got long fingers as well. I just bought this literally last week along with some other stationery that she was selling. So pet tape and washi tape and stickers. Oh, so exciting. I really like her art, even if I passed along the Playful Heart Tarot. I really like the imperfect or unprecise lines and colors in the deck. So this one has the big main art, and then at the bottom there's these 5 like little scenes, and it's so cute. It's so much to look at. It's really cool. So yeah, my bedside contemplation decks. All of these things are by my bedside, and it's a great alternative to my phone, both at night and in the morning. Now, lastly, for the people who stayed this long, thank you. I want to share some video ideas I've had and get some feedback and opinions on which ones you find interesting. This is not about quantity of votes or comments about any particular video. I'm not trying to just get like the most popular videos out there. I want to hear specifically why people find these things interesting. Most of the time, I get video ideas in response to other people. Questions or comments that I see online, or conversations that I've had in person, or reading things in a book that I want to be a contrarian about. So if any of these video topics interest you, from my point of view, I would love to hear which video and why. Here's the ideas. My ND journey, my neurodivergent journey in tarot cards, my process of exploring my brain being different before, during, and after diagnosis, and use tarot cards to represent all of that. ADHD and tarot cards, part 2. Hilariously, I was so excited like 2 years ago when I made part 1 and then never got around to it, but it's still in my queue here. The tag Thoughtful Tarot by Mermaid Stream Tarot. Questions about my tarot and oracle practice, like what's worked and what's not worked. I am not sure if people are interested in hearing about my practice. The best 9 of Swords, and here's why. My favorite 9 of Swords card from all time is from the Weight of the Panda Tarot, and so I will make a video explaining more why it's the best. A secular tarot discussion with my friend Joe of Pointed Logic Tarot. We've got a list of topics and ideas about secular tarot that we would love to share. There are probably many other people who were in the same spot as we were when we were first starting out, where we wanted to hear more from people who are secular or skeptical or just atheist, agnostic, but also using tarot. My Top Tarot Trumps Times Tarot Memoir series, even if no one votes or weighs in on this, I'm still going to do it. I even have the cards pulled out because I'm gradually working on those ideas. The next card is the Hanged one. Those videos definitely get less views than the other ones, but luckily I have found a way now to block my browser from displaying how many views each video has on YouTube. So now I can hopefully not worry about that stuff anymore. The Parks and Rec characters represented through court cards. I actually made this like little presentation ages ago for an online event, and I've been meaning to put it in video format, but haven't gotten around to it. So it would be all the Parks and Rec characters, or at least 3 of them, the ones that I put in that presentation, and then choosing different court cards to represent each of them. And my stack of journals and notebooks, ones that I've finished and not finished, and why. I know that this is called Tangy Tarot, but you know, there's always a sprinkling of journals and other hobbies in there. So again, if any particular topic interests you, I'd love to hear why. You know, sometimes when you're talking in your room by yourself, and by you, I mean me, I can get lost in the sauce and I can wonder, like, do people even find this interesting? And I want to spend my time on things that other people find interesting and that I also find interesting. I haven't watched or engaged with TarotTube in a long time because I'm trying to get some of these video ideas out before I take in more input. But if there are videos and things around TarotTube that you've been really enjoying, not just recommending like for me specifically, but just sharing that you enjoyed it, I would love to hear about it as well. It's really cool to talk about these things like in passing instead of making it like a big deal, like I really enjoyed this content creator's work. No, I just enjoyed this like topic or video or this activity that people did or people shared. So yeah, that is all for today. I will see you. What's my outro? That's all I got for today. Thanks for watching. There we go. That's all I got for today. Thanks for watching. Bye. Okay, finally I filmed a video.